Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 8th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. California to the right of this image, Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left. Check out all this action, this cold air spilling down across the Pacific Ocean. This is eventually going to get cut off. It's no immediate threat to the state of California, but what's likely to happen is a strong jet stream is going to race across the northern Pacific, pick up this system, and bring a strong frontal system into the state of California. We'll take a look at the latest on that. Now, right now, we have some fog out there across some of northern California into some of the valleys, into some of the Sacramento and Joaquin Valley. Fairly isolated there, and there is some marine layer down through Southern California. Bay Area looks fairly clear, maybe some patchy fog out there and fairly clear for the Central Coast. You can also see some lightning way off to the west. That is no threat as of right now to the state of California. Not yet anyway. Now, also with some of that fog out there, nice graphic here put out by Eureka, California. Low beam headlights. Be careful around pedestrians. You guys know the drill. And San Francisco is now talking about the potential for this system next week. Los Angeles, not quite yet. They're biding their time a little bit here, but there is still some high surf advisories out there, and watch out again for that marine layer and some of that fog. Now, looking at the North American model, 80-meter wind speed. So we've got some gusty easterly winds here across much of the state, really, and some northerly winds across some portions of southeastern California, San Bernardino County, out of the north across portions of Las Vegas. And as we scroll through the next couple of days, you can see it does get a bit breezy here out of the east at times. So watch out for that. Nothing too extreme. This is not a major offshore wind event, but things could get blustery for portions of the peninsula and the transverse range and some of the desert areas as we go on in through the day on Sunday. But by the time we get in Sunday afternoon, all the way through Monday morning, actually kind of gusty. But then as we get on through the day Monday, we start to relax that gradient a bit, and those winds should die down. Now, this is that area we saw in the infrared satellite imagery. And of course, California is to the right, Japan to the far left. So what I want you to watch here is for this low. Watch how this kind of bulges down south a bit there, and it gets completely cut off. That low gets cut off from the jet stream. And again, this is 300 millibars, or about 30,000 feet. And it's this next trough here that comes back in and picks up that orphaned low there. You can kind of see it gets cut off, and then the parents come back, pick it up, and eject it back into the state of California. And a potent jet stream pointed right at Central California by the next it's that Thursday night, and that's going to bring a potent frontal system with it, most likely. Now, taking a look at the European, a little bit closer look here. California is to the right, Hawaiian Islands bottom left. There's our storm system out over the Pacific Ocean. And again, it gets cut off completely orphaned there, and then it gets picked up by that next frontal system. And by the time we go towards next, Wednesday, some point of the day, Wednesday, it starts to bring some precipitation into California. But by the time you get to Wednesday night and Thursday morning, look at some of that moderate heavy rainfall all the way from Northern California, Central California, and you can see it pointed at the transverse range here as well. As we go to the very end, the last portion of last night's European model run, this would be Thursday night. So yeah, the models are still in good agreement with this system arriving. Fairly potent atmospheric river coming all the way down through Southern California. Now, looking at significant wave height direction, we're kind of still elevated a bit here as we go through this morning, but again, it's waning pretty quickly as we go through the day today and Sunday. But again, this doesn't mean there could still be sneaker waves out there. We've had some big storms across the Pacific. You never know what's coming out across the largest ocean in the world. And then as we go on into next week, though, watch the increase with that next storm system. There it goes as we go through next week. So we're going to have a return with some of the wave action and some gusty winds with that next frontal system. Now, looking at something interesting here, 100-meter wind speed. We're way zoomed out. Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left, California to the right, and you can see that system out over the Pacific Ocean. You'll see that cutoff low there. Again, kind of gets orphaned out there off between California and Hawaii. There it is, spinning right there. And then we dig that next trough, and you can see it get picked up by the parents, and it gets pushed back into the state of California. Look at those southerly gusty winds there. This is pretty close to the surface, and it could bring gusty winds for much of the state as we go on in through next week. But yeah, and remember this high pressure system out here. I'm going to show you something here in a moment, and on one of the satellite loops when I wrap up this video here, but remember that high pressure there. So there's the cutoff low on the artificial intelligence, and the next system rolling in there as well. Potential heavy rainfall all the way through Southern California, also showing up on the artificial intelligence. Now, this is looking off across as the Himawari satellite. This is Japan right here. You can see the typhoon out there across the Western Pacific. That's that high pressure I wanted you to remember. So this system coming off of Japan right now, that's the energy that's coming for California. That's what's going to race across the North Pacific, round round over the top of this high, pick up some of that moisture from that cutoff low, and push into the state of California. So just thought you'd like to know where this next system is, still all the way across the Pacific Ocean. Now, looking at total precipitation in inches, let's see what the latest models have to say on that. Well, as we scroll through next week, you can see the artificial intelligence pretty bullish on that heavy precipitation getting down all the way even to portions of Mexico. The GFS, not quite as bullish, but again, the GFS is just not as reliable as the European Artificial Intelligence Ensemble members, but it does show precipitation getting down into the Southern California area as well. Now, total snow, I'll scroll through here. You see through the next few days, Monday, Tuesday, but by the time you get towards Thursday morning, you see some of that snow piling up across the Sierra Nevada. That's our next frontal system. So, yeah, we could get some snowfall there as well. And again, a lot of time to go. I mean, you're talking about next week still, Thursday morning, and maybe Wednesday is when the first precipitation arrives, and today is still Saturday. So, yeah, just continue to check back daily, please. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, Climate Prediction Center above normal, and the experimental products are also picking up on that as well. They have been for some time, and they show the moderate risk for the Sierra and some of the Southern California locations, and risk of heavy snow as well. So this is something that was issued yesterday as well. Weeks 3 to 4 temperature outlook. This goes all the way through December 5th, November 22nd to December 5th to be exact. Look at that, below normal across a lot of the West Coast, and above normal precipitation chances. So maybe we'll stay active. No promises, but it is nice to see. And also check out my king tides meet huge waves at Cape Disappointment there, right on the Oregon-Washington border, mouth of Columbia. Pretty intense scene out there. I saw a guy get swept off the rocks. Huge logs were moving that don't normally move because of the wave action. It was pretty intense. So go ahead and check that out if you would. And what else? Hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.